here on KTN Prime. Tonight, the country's 15th Chief Justice is officially in office. Lady Justice Martha Koome received the instruments of power and symbols of authority, promising to prioritize independence of the judiciary, funding, and the backlog of cases in court. KTN senior reporter Rita Tinina begins our broadcast tonight, reporting on an Assumption of Office ceremony that stood out.
Being received by the
3 days after taking her oath of office, the country's 15th Chief Justice since independence, the third since the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, President of the highest court in the land and chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission, arrived at the Supreme Court for a ceremony to mark her assumption of office. And from the word go, something stood out for the new CJ. She did not wear the legal wig, a trademark of the office of Chief Justice. Her predecessor, David Maraga, wore the wig, and at Monday's ceremony, Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu wore it as well. That is not all that was different. According to the program, only the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, the Deputy Chief Justice, and the Chief Justice were scheduled to make remarks. But Justice Koome ended up being the MC, inviting others to speak. From her predecessor, Justice David Maraga, mentor Effie Owor, Senate Speaker to the Attorney General, and they came with some advice.
But you definitely need prayers.
Your biggest and most important task is to dispense justice.
Constitutional power is constrained power, so that everybody keeps to his or her lane.
Justice Koome takes over the judiciary at a time when the arm of government is undergoing transformative change. Change that the country's first female magistrate, Effie Owor, says began more than 5 decades ago, when there was no toilet for women in the judiciary.
Even where to go and powder my nose was a big problem. The male judges told me that I can't go to where they go to because we do everything else differently.
An independent, efficient, accessible and responsive judiciary is part of Justice Koome's vision.
One of my priorities, with your support, ladies and gentlemen, my dear colleagues, is building an efficient institution.
Initiation of the process to establish a High Court station in every county and a magistrates court in each of the 290 sub-counties are also on Koome's agenda.
We will respect and enforce the decisional independence of individual judges and magistrates.
Justice Koome has a full entry. A huge backlog of cases remains a big challenge, as it did during David Maraga's tenure, where the judiciary worked on tackling cases that were more than 5 years old.
We will continue that trajectory and ensure that at any given time, no case should be in the justice system for longer than 3 years.
Insufficient resources for the judiciary led to frosty relations between former CJ David Maraga and the executive. Justice Koome's fingers are crossed for more funding.
The Judiciary Fund, which is established under Article 173 of the Constitution, is yet to be operationalized. We will continue to build the case for additional funding.
Failure by the president to swear in 41 judges appointed in 2019 may define the baby steps of the relations between the two arms of government. For now,
today ends for Chief Justice, the rubber meets the road.
At the Assumption of Office ceremony, Justice Koome received the instruments of power and symbols of authority, the Constitution and judiciary flag. It was her first day in office, the beginning of an under-the-microscope performance for the CJ of many firsts.
It is your Judiciary Chief Justice, ni wewe kusema.
Rita Tinina, KTN.